It's Trusty Huckster Mercantile doing another Shop With Me video at the Rustic Fox. It was a bitter cold, windy, and rainy day at the Rustic Fox today, so I did not get any good video of the outside of me going in, and so I'm recycling a sunny picture from a previous video. But what's inside is all new, all different, and all of it highlighting Christmas at the Rustic Fox. So join me while I do a deep dive in some of the booths of the Rustic Fox in North Aurora, Illinois.
Well, if you got a dollar on just a lousy down, know that I got rhythm that could suit your budget fine.
The Golden Scarab, favorites at the Rustic Fox, and always has some great vintage. One of the items I wanted to highlight today is this great vintage box. I initially thought it was a lacquer box. I don't think it is. I think it's just a plastic crane, but it's a makeup box. So it has this open trifold mirror. Hello. Yes, I am wearing my mask. So you've got the makeup mirror on the top, the compartments, and it's a really nice weight because of those mirrors in the top. It was a great price, only 24 bucks. Doesn't have any maker's mark or anything on there, so it's a mass-produced item, but definitely vintage. Definitely has a cool look to it. Look great on a dresser, with kind of a nice dresser scarf underneath it, some other gold tone accents. Kind of a cool piece, and you can find it at the Golden Scarab booth at the Rustic Fox. Dusty Roads Merchants has some of the most stunning pieces at the Rustic. Some just gorgeous pieces of furniture and some wonderful individual pieces. And this was one I really wanted to highlight in the idea not all microscopes are made the same. This is an Ernst Wetzler microscope. There's a stamp on the back showing that this is a German microscope. You can kind of see that at the top. Ernst Wetzler, Germany. It has brass fittings and cast iron plate, and I would say it weighs at least 20 pounds, if not 30. That's definitely heavier than my dog was. So you've got a very solid piece, extremely well made, and just an impressive item that I'm sure was once in a high-end scientific lab and now can be yours for a pretty impressive conversation piece. It is a higher price than a toy version of the microscope, $225. But as conversation pieces go, the look of this is amazing, and a great buy for $225 at the Rustic Fox in Dusty Roads Merchants booth. This is one of my here anyway. A lot of what they've got is just this great industrial look, a lot of the wood crates. But this is a new addition. I thought it was worth highlighting because you actually see this piece fairly often, but you rarely find this piece, which is required to make it work. So you've got this bowl that holds the kerosene lamp. So this one includes a kerosene lamp with its hurricane. You've got the bowl that holds it. I don't think it's original because this doesn't sit all the way in it, but that's okay. It would be a little bit more rounded to fit in there, but this still looks great. And then you've got the arc, and then there's this little pin. So if you ever see these in the wild, you'll sometimes see this kind of arm thing, and then you'll have this little pin. You're like, well, how does it sit? Because there's no way to, you literally would not be able to set it down. It's two-dimensional, it's thin. You have to have this piece. And in some cases, it seems like this piece is just as valuable as the entire bracket because so many of these exist and then got separated from their base plate. So it is kind of nice to see this all together. And what I think is a pretty good price for the whole thing, it's only 68 bucks. So it is kind of a nice wall-mounted kerosene holder here at the Rustic Fox. The Bell and Herbie's booth is chock full of vintage. And I'm highlighting pieces because I'd never seen anything like this before. They're these little vintage kind of like they're plush upholstered at the top, kind of felt clothing. They have their labels on the bottom. That one's kind of torn. That say Noel Japan. So they've got the original Noel Japan labels upside down. And what they've got is for their eyes. See if I can get them to do it. They've got flasher eyes. So you can see they move around. Never seen anything like that before. She's got them priced individually, but clearly they were once part of a set. They're only 15 bucks a piece. Super cute, super unique for a kind of a cool vintage Christmas look here at Bell and Herbie's at the Rustic Fox. I have no need for these, but I keep getting attracted to them. There's this fantastic Macintosh rose with the red and the black, and then this kind of gold accent in the middle. It's in all of these in perfect condition, and it's a full set of 8 with its original gold handled carrier. So they've got it marked from the 70s for $68. You know, that's basic. That's not even 10 bucks a glass. I mean, so that's a great price, considering you're getting the caddy too. Just another great addition from the maker and the merchant at the Rustic Fox. So anyone who's seen my videos in the past or seen some of my own personal collection would understand why I would be completely attracted to these pieces. This is in the Treasures Reimagined booth here at the Rustic Fox. And the front two are both signed pieces of Door County pottery, kind of in the same style and era as Ephraim pottery, also out of Wisconsin. But the yellow piece in the back is Tico pottery, also marked. Just fantastic looks, really getting into that craftsman mission style, arts and crafts. Tico with that, you know, the angled handles on there on all 4 sides, and then kind of even the little Art Nouveau touch with the nature motif with the dragonflies on the 2 Door County pieces. Absolutely gorgeous glazes, really nice sizes, just super attractive pieces that I look at every time I walk the floor, and some great prices to go along with them. So some great Door pottery and Tico in the Treasures Reimagined booth at the Rustic Fox. Red Rooster Relics always has some great vintage, and this is something I think I might have shown before, but really wanted to spend time highlighting it because this is a piece I learned a little bit more about from Patty, who runs Red Rooster Relics, that when she picked this up, it came out of a house of a smoker, and she said it effectively was jet black. It had been wired. The wiring is still there to be able to be hardwired in, but she went through, repolished all of the brass, cleaned all of the crystals, and just made this absolutely stunning Hollywood Regency era, legit vintage Hollywood Regency era chandelier, absolutely wall sconce chandelier, absolutely beautiful. And just all the work that she put into it, and the piece itself is valuable on its own, and it's only priced at 400 bucks. It's just absolutely stunning, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I could put it in my place. I don't think it's going to happen, so it's going to stay here at the Rustic Fox and can go home with another lucky buyer. Here we are, front and center of the Porch View Vintage booth. Here we got the Holy Grail, the 70s ceramic Christmas tree. Everyone wants one except for me. Because if you've seen my videos, you know that I kind of almost literally grew up with these. My mom had a ceramic studio in the basement, Fran's Hobby Corner, and I've helped make dozens of these, and more than enough to satisfy me for my lifetime. I can recognize quality. I can recognize, you know, that they can be well done. This one is actually a little bit different, I will admit. The lighting that's on these is very different. I've never seen the plastic light like this one with that holly. You can see it came out, the glue broke it down or whatever. I don't know if this is an original because there's no glue on the actual piece, but I've never seen the plastic light flower like that. These are also a little bit different. Makes me also think these might be a little bit later, maybe going into the 80s maybe. The birds I'm familiar with.
So those show up on a lot of different pieces, not always the Christmas tree. This is some very springtime colors on this Christmas tree. So I do feel this is maybe a marriage, but it is something that is somewhat different, somewhat unique, and maybe represents or justifies that price of $225. Again, maybe a little bit different. I will say the bottom is a little bit more detailed or a different style than is always common. So again, maybe helps justify the price. But if you're looking for a Christmas tree, we got one at the Rustic Fox.
So this is a highlight from number 17 vintage. This is Suzanne McLean's booth, and she's customizing some of her pieces. So she's taking vintage items like the spice containers, the ball jars. I was actually with her when she bought those ball jars. They are legit vintage. They have the milk glass liners on the inside, so they have some age to them. But she's just taking simple add-ons, you know, the colored twine, the wood cutouts. I think the little turkeys are adorable. And just trying to accent vintage items to, you know, maybe be attractive to an audience that doesn't like it just because it's vintage. They like it because they're looking for autumn decor, and she's starting to do them for Christmas, but they keep selling out, so I have no examples to show you. But I thought this was a fun one to show for fall customization from vintage items for maybe a more modern decor. Wanted to highlight some of these little kind of, I would just say, bottle brush vignettes that were made from Black Dog Creations. They've taken a variety of these little ironstone containers. This one happens to be a Golden Shred brand marmalade stoneware container. They've done several of these with legit vintage stoneware crocks. Probably, you know, had certain different purposes initially, and then applied these labels. I'm not 100% sure that I like that, but I'm sure it's reversible. But you've got kind of this nice little size that would end up holding candy canes. You know, the little bottle brush with the tree. So they've covered up some of the bottoms if any of these were initially marked. They're just saying this is ironstone, but you see some nice colorations in all of these. And it's just kind of a neat way to take these small containers that can get lost. Even when I'm displaying my ironstone and decorated crocks, I tend not to do these because they're really, really small. I mean, if you look at this one, I mean, this is basically the size of a toothpick holder. You know, adding that bottle brush in there is just kind of a neat little addition. So again, an ironstone apothecary jar, kind of cute, and available at the Black Dog Creations booth in the Rustic Fox. The Quirky Haven always has some great vintage to please a variety of interests. And this is a piece that I wanted to showcase from their booth. These Christmas, they're not really magazines, they're journals that were published. They came out annually, the American Annual of Christmas Literature and Art. I've never seen anything like these before, other than here in their booth. It looks like they were annualized. This was volume 30, which put this, let's see, when was volume 30? 1960. So Augsburg Publishing. It's just, again, it's kind of a mix. It's got some great art. You know, here's some what almost looks like illustrated manuscripts for the Christmas story. Some just neat, you know, some graphic fonts that have been done, some neat layout. Just something interesting. I'm not really sure, or I wouldn't count this as a magazine, but there are other articles. There's, again, some great illustrations supporting them. I don't see this as a family thing. You know, again, looking at just some of the imagery, it's not academic. But it's not. I don't know what it is. I think it's really cool. So this one, you know, so again, some articles and some art on the Christmas story. One of these cases where individually some of these pictures would look fantastic, whether it's for junk journaling or, you know, if you were to take out some of the art and put it into, you know, frame it for individual use. I would almost hate to see something like this being cut apart.
But I also don't know if there's an absolutely huge market for something like this. Again, a picture of a library and an article with the history, an article on illustrated illuminated manuscripts, which is what some of these are starting to look like. But again, not necessarily something that you're going to you're going to really devour. But like, here's a perfect example. This artwork supporting Christmas time again. This story, it's a coloration that you don't necessarily see all the time. It's like that mulberry color. It's really interesting to look at. And this would be a great 2-page spread. Just framed in as a Christmas Christmas artwork. It'd be nice that they'd stay together, but maybe the art is more valuable than an article on hearth and board. But there's several of them available here in the booth. I think some of them are a little bit earlier. Again, it looks like they came out annually. So what this one is volume 22. So this must be in the 1952. So this one's a little bit earlier. So just some great mid-century modern publications with some of the graphics, some of the one, I can't remember what you call it, but the printing motif, the fonts. Oh, here's a recipe for Yule bread. Just what everyone needs. I don't know. I don't know why I found these interesting. I guess because they were sitting on this couch kind of all by themselves, and the couch isn't Christmas, and this really popped Christmas. They're fun. They're interesting. They're inexpensive. If I remember right, they're all the same price, and they're all $12. So just kind of a neat piece, whether you keep it together, you start cutting it apart. Several of them available, and they are available in the Quirky Haven booth at the Rustic Fox.
Admittedly, I'm not familiar particularly with Afghans. I think my mom, when I was growing up, did a little bit of crochet, and I'm not always 100% sure how to tell the difference between crochet and knitting, but I think these are all crochet. These have become very popular in the vintage world. This is from In-Laws Salvage here at the Rustic Fox. And this is another case where they're taking these vintage Afghans and making them available for prices that, you probably couldn't recreate these without spending more than that on the yarn. So you've got this, diagonal designed pattern with the colored stripes, and moving into this next one with the chevron, again, each one with a very bold color. I think we had something like this in my house growing up because my mother's favorite color was purple. So it looks like this has some gradient to it. Again, a chevron, another chevron with gold and blue. This is kind of cool design in this one. Looks like rows of it with that center pattern. I mean, I don't even know how do you knit, how do you crochet, or maybe that's knitted. Well, not really sure. Let's see what they say. Purple blanket, and it's only 28 bucks. I mean, that's some amazing detail for something that's only 28 bucks, and it's folded up quite a bit, so it probably is a decent size. Kind of a confetti color, and then they kind of finish off this little blanket ladder with a wool piece. But they're definitely popular, and they're definitely priced right. And of course, highlighting some things from my own booth. Teapots is something I was hoping would move here. I started carrying tea along with it. And this is an example, I think, of where real life vintage mall versus online tends to differ. I have 2 Hall teapots, both of them priced extremely well, both of them priced well below what their retail would be online. We've got the Cobalt Airflow Teapot Hall 6-cup 0443, and then also in the rose and gold pattern, I got the Windshield teapot. You can see the kind of cool angle on the top. Both of these I've had for a while. I had them in my other booth, moved them into here. The Cobalt one I've marked down to $15, and the pink one I've marked down to $8, and they haven't moved. So we'll see. I've sold some of the tea, so that's kind of nice. We've got these literary teas, Beatrix Potter, Charles Dickens. I've got William Shakespeare, Jane Austen. Trying to see, again, what moves, what gift-giving season will move to. And Hall teapots haven't moved yet. We'll see what changes.
So that's the Rustic Fox. It's located in North Aurora, Illinois, just off of 88 at the Orchard exit, opposite the parking lot of the Target. So pretty easy to find. If you found me and you're not already a subscriber and you got this far, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, comment, do whatever you'd like to do. I just want to thank you for joining me for the video and putting your trust in Trusty Huckster. Bye-bye.
Well, show me a sign if you're wishing me to stay. Otherwise, I say goodbye and finish out the day. And that sunrise in the morning and you got nothing to say. Oh, that's when I'll be headed on my way. Hey, hey, I hope I can abide by your area codes, and I'm bound to wander down that endless road. Give me a good deal on something I can use. Make me an offer that I just can't refuse. When that sunrise in the morning and there's nothing there to do, will probably be the last time I see you. Woo-hoo! I hope I can abide by your area code, and I'm bound to wander down that endless road. Well, if I had a dime for every time I felt this way, you know I'd have $1 million and a couple bucks in change. Sure was nice to know you. Oh, maybe I'll catch you on a New York train. Or maybe I'll never see your face again.